Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Today we break down Chiefs losing 2-1 to Masry. The game was very frustrating. But anyway, before we get into that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, let's get into it. Kaizer Chiefs lost 2-1 to Al Mazur. It was not a good lose. We lost against a very poor team. I don't care who says what. The only threat I got out of Al Mazur, they have that one creative, I think he plays on the right and he cuts in on his left foot. That was the only tricky play. Oh, and another thing about playing CAF Confederation that now we are exposed to again. It's just Egyptian players, or let me say North African players, are the most irritating players to watch play football. I don't know how these guys enjoy their actual leagues. I don't know. Because these ones are crybabies. Like, you touch them, they roll on the ground. And then on top of that, what makes it worse is that all the players, and the thing is that it's... I don't know, man. It's like a disease, this thing. But like all the players become these guys, even the foreign ones get into the habit of fighting the ref. Like every 2 minutes, these guys were fighting the ref. It's like, and that's why you when you play Egyptian, you just hope you don't get a weak ref. Because a weak ref is going to eventually start blowing for Egypt because he's going to feel that he's judging them wrong because they're complaining so much. So he's going to have this thing in the back of his mind. But if these guys are complaining this much, am I lenient on the other team? But no, it's not that you're being lenient. It's just what they do. They come and they antagonize the ref. Every whistle that they don't like, they will blow. Like they will just fight with you as the ref. And luckily, the ref of today, of our game, he was very strong in his decision making. I think he was very fair. There are 1 or 2 calls he missed, but I think overall he was fair. But let's do some player ratings. Peterson, not a good game for me. I think his worst game of the season, actually, when I think about it. Worst game of the season. He could have definitely saved that penalty. It passed right by him. It wasn't even like far in the corner. It was right by him. So that was a weak one. And obviously he caused the penalty. It's hard too much to judge the penalty, except that he could have been smarter. Being smart is acting like you're going to dive in with your feet, but like pull out or do something, So Peterson could have been smarter, both in stopping the penalty from happening and in conceding conceding the goal from the penalty spot. I think he could have fixed that one. There were other mistakes that he made, like at one point he wanted to clear the ball and he kicked it right into the back of the striker. And the guy almost scored. So it wasn't Peterson's best game. But the second goal is Miguel. Can't really blame Peterson for that. So in terms of ratings for Peterson, I am going to give a 5.5. Not a great game for him, but also not his worst. There's also some good saves that he did pull off. So 5.5. Cross, I'm going to give a 6 to 6.5. He didn't really feel these guys. He played really well actually in his position. He had a very tricky guy there on his side on the left, but he dealt with that guy effectively. There wasn't too much hassle there. So in terms of right wing, Solomons did his job in terms of defending. Right, there were just some moments where he was just caught out of position that were not great to see. But the one side of his game that I just wish he can fix is his attack. Apart from his goal, which was one of the best goals he scored, there were moments in the first half where he could have made a better decision. He had a similar chance where he got out. We were about 3 against 2 at that moment, and he became selfish and took a shot, whereas he could have passed Umtusha, who would have had a one-on-one with the keeper, but he didn't. So it's those moments, and then he's crossing at times. Sometimes I wish he can use his head a bit more. What do I mean use his head a bit more? He had the last kick of the game for us, but in the last kick of the game for us, he decided to kick the ball in the air. right? And for me, I had a problem with that for one reason. One thing I picked up about the Al Mazur goalkeeper is that he's comfortable with high balls, very comfortable with high balls, but it's the low balls that he's not comfortable with. The low shots, I don't think he's comfortable with those. I don't think that keeper could get down quick enough, which is how Solomon's got his goal so easily. But the rest you saw when he's saving shots from Villagaz, etc. When they are high, he knows how to save them. It's the low ones that he struggles with. But because we weren't shooting a lot, we didn't have enough options to expose that keeper because of the bad setup. So there's that. But Solomon's, I'm going to give a 6.5. I'm going to give him a 6.5 to 7, somewhere there. Then Miguel, I'm going to give, I'm going to give a 2. I'll even want to give him a 1 because his presence in the team was just negative. He was a liability at times for us. He made defensive errors. He was kicking the players on the other side. He was getting yellow cards for no reason. And then the second goal is Miguel. Whatever he was doing, I don't know. But yeah, Miguel, 1 or 2, just poor. I think there are certain players who you are better off playing with. Sometimes it felt like we should have just played with 10 men because Miguel's contribution was just was not the one. Quinica had a solid performance. He was clearing a lot of the balls. He just did a standard job, so a rating of 6 for him. Teta, a rating of 6 to 6.5, also had a good game. Thabo Cele is a difficult one. I was watching Soccer Beat yesterday, and I saw these guys from Soccer Beat praising this guy, praising Thabo Cele, saying Thabo Cele played really well and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm coming to realize that we don't watch football. I don't watch football like a lot of people. And I have to accept that my opinions here are going to be very different to the opinions of these guys out there. And they know football a lot more than me. Some of them were playing football when we weren't even born. So sometimes you have to look at that and see what are they seeing that I didn't see that Thabo Cele was doing. Because I am going to give Thabo Cele a rating of 5.5. I don't think he was good. If I could give him a rating of less than that, I would. But I'm trying to be fair, and I'm giving him a rating of 5.5. Why am I saying 5.5? Thabo Cele, he does something that annoys me. Thabo Cele is a player who, when he has the ball, he looks good on the eye because he can maybe beat one player. He can do all of those things. But in terms of progressing our game, he didn't. Thabo Cele did not progress our game. Thabo Cele was always, his first touch was always taking him backwards, which means he missed out on a lot of the forward runs that were beating the offside trap. He was lacking a long pass. He doesn't have a long pass in him. I don't know why, especially playing as an 8 that doesn't have a long pass. There were moments where we just needed someone to spray the ball, find the wide player quickly so we can move off the ball quickly. But Thabo Cele did not do that. He was playing short passes. There are moments where we come from traffic, Thabo Cele gets the ball, and he doesn't have the foresight to change the game, and he runs back into traffic. But the thing is that because when he gets into traffic, he still passes a Kaizer Chiefs player. A lot of people think but it's not Thabo Cele who lost the ball. Because he would go back into traffic and pass a Kaizer Chiefs player, and that Kaizer Chiefs player would eventually make a mistake. And then it looks like it's that Chiefs player who he passed to make the mistake, like Dupree, etc. But it's not them. This guy took the ball back into a congested area instead of rotating the game. And that's one part of our game that I didn't like. How we rotated from the left side of the game to the right side. It was not happening quick enough at times. Like, Modi had acres of space sometimes, but we passed him late when these guys have recovered. And that's one of the things that I didn't like about Thabo Cele. I felt like when Ulebahang Mabowe came on, we saw the game advance between the different areas of the pitch a bit better. It's not to say he was hitting long balls, but he just played it simple. He played the quick pass and stuff like that. So That's what I'm saying about Thabo Cele. So my opinion is that he did not have a good game. He just looked like he did well because of why sometimes he in most cases he won the one-on-one battle with the Al Mazur, but it didn't hurt them. What they wanted Thabo Cele to hog the ball, but not pass the ball. Because they were going to get hurt by Thabo Cele dilly-dallying with the ball more than him releasing it. So Thabo Cele played into their hands. They wanted him to keep the ball at his feet and to pass the ball backwards, etc. And that, for me, was a big part of why we didn't function in the middle. Because on top of that, that's not what Mthethwa's role is. Mthethwa can't spray the long passes, even though he tried. But we saw he misdirected a lot of these passes because he knew, Guti, it's like he can pick up that something is missing. Let's move the ball quickly. But he's doing something he can't do naturally. Then Modi, I'm going to give a 4. He didn't do anything in the game. His existence in the game was just that. I don't know. Dupree, I'm going to give 5.5. Made good runs. Made good runs. But unfortunately for Dupree, he's not a winger. So he needs someone to be creative for him. But he was expected to be the creative one. So it's like now we're faulting a guy who's being played out. It's like when Duba gets played as a winger and he can't do the winger duties like find the pass or dribble one person, cut the ball. He can't do those things, and then you wanna fault him. But he's not comfortable there. He's used to people supplying for him, and he just has to find the pockets of spaces. Mdu Shabalala, I'm going to also give a 5.5 to 6. Let me say 5.5, non-existent, but I don't blame him. It's all because of the players surrounding him. Mdu was the most creative player on the pitch. It can't be like that. It can't be that Mdu is our only creative outlet. We needed a Vilagazi there. We needed a Velibai there so that Mdu knows someone else is thinking. In this game, it was very unfortunate to see that he had to be the thinker of the team. And it's not his specialty to be the thinker. What Mdu specializes in is his off-the-ball running. Mdu is almost like a second striker, if you want to think about Mdu Shabalala. He's not your creative 10 that always gives you through balls and stuff. He's like your second striker. He finds that pocket that is opened by the striker. He makes those runs to support the wingers. That's what Mdu's role is. But because if you don't have the kind of players around him, then his game gets limited. Igodaro, I'm going to give a 6. He was one of the better players in the first half. Controlling the ball, yes, he was coming deep. Do I blame him? No. No supply. Was Ashley Tupili supplying him? No. Was Modi supplying him? No. So the ball was not getting to Al Mazur's box. So he then had to try and find a way to make the ball get there. It's something that you even saw Flavio Silva doing. Flavio Silva would get the ball, and it almost felt like he's the only one who wants to attack because the rest of the guys were just not supporting the attack, which was very disappointing to see. I'm not going to give too much of second half ratings. Vilagazi came on, gave good energy, but there was an element of greediness that I didn't like seeing in him. And this is why I'm saying it's a bit difficult. I like his attitude. There's an arrogance to his game that I like. But it's going to be a problem when that attitude or that arrogance it results in us having bad results. It's not going to look the right way. Why do I say that? There are moments in this game where he had very wonderful opportunities, but greed got in the way. If I'm not mistaken, in the second half, there was a very good cross that came in, and it was right by Flavio's head. Flavio was going to hit that ball into the net, but I think it was Vilagazi who jumped and tried to be the one who's going to header the ball. And he's not an header of the ball, so we know what happened there. So there's those elements of his game where he just has to make a better decision. And unfortunately, when you bring on a player late, especially a player like Vilagazi, they become too eager. to do things. They feel they need to do something to impact the game, and then they do too much. And that sums Vilakazi's game. A player who felt he needed to do something. Had this guy started the game, he would have known he has enough time to do things, and he would have always, I feel like he would have taken his time to make the right decisions. But because he came late, we were losing. He got into the mindset of he needs to be the one to find the solution in every situation. And I feel like that was detrimental to his game. And it's caused by whoever was coaching on the day, which we will talk about now. And Velibai had a bit of a quiet game, but it also goes back to the point of saying we weren't circulating the ball enough. Another part of me that it goes back to the Vilakazi thing. Vilakazi and Velibai took time to warm up into the game. I wanted them to start. These guys, those two needed to play at the very least 70 minutes. They needed to play 70 minutes because I feel like they were going to grow into the game once they understand what the opponent is giving, So then apart from that, coaching ratings, I'm going to give the coach a rating of 2. Bad starting lineup, disastrous starting lineup. Mthethwa, Thabo Cele, the same issue every week. We have to talk about the same nonsense every week. Those two don't know how to play together. Starting Modi and Dupree is just a disaster. I can't fault them about Miguel. I would have started Miguel myself because I don't think Msimango is match fit yet. So I can't fault them for the mistakes Miguel made, but Thabo Cele, Mthethwa, Modi and Dupree are a big fumble. And also bringing Maklo into this game for I don't know what reason, but anyway. Apart from that, you know what? Our coaches really bottled this game for us, but it is what it is. But I still say I blame the coaches. I know a lot of people are putting the blame on Miguel, which is granted. I agree. I'm not going to stop anyone from doing that. But I feel like if you started with the right team from the first half, then we probably would have won this game 3-1 or 4-1 or at the very least 4-2. I feel like our mistakes just came from just being lost. Our team just looked lost. But anyway, Amakhosi.